Here's something really cool that some of you guys probably overlook when it comes to tuning your suspension. So right here, this is my Hone Developments little bracket for my control arm. Okay, so my bolts used to go right here for my control arms. Now it's moved down 25 millimeter. At least that's what it looks like, 25 millimeter. This is my rear load control arm. This is from PCI, Pro Car Innovations, and it's fancy. It's super hot boy stuff because it's billet and it's polished and stuff. Anyways, I digress. So let's just pretend that we put a tire on this thing and we drop it on the ground. What do you think's gonna happen to the control arm, right? Obviously, the control arm's gonna compress. The spring's gonna compress. And the control arm's gonna go, whoop. All right? Does that make sense? All right, look at both sides. All right, so if you put a tire on here, put this thing on the ground, suspension droops back, and it goes, yep, it straightens up, right? Now, just imagine if I really dump the car, because I got a lot of threads here left. If I really slam the car, guess what's gonna happen to that control arm? It's obviously gonna go from this angle to this angle, all right? And why is that bad, all right? Well, it's because when your control arms move up this much, it gives the car more leverage to compress the spring when you're turning. Like, imagine if you're going on a freeway on-ramp and your control arm's already like this. Guess what? Your spring is gonna compress a lot easier because your control arms are already angled, all right? There's nothing for the spring to fight. Now, since I added this bracket on here and it moves my control arm pivot point, or, that area right there, it moves it down, guess what? If my control arm used to look like this, now it's gonna look like this, so straighter, which means when I take that same freeway on-ramp, the spring's not gonna have as much leverage to roll, all right? So when you're driving a stock car and you get on the freeway and you take it as fast as you can possibly handle, you feel like you're gangster leaning, right? You're like, ah! But check this out. If you can tune your suspension to get rid of the body roll, like add a giant sway bar or correct your suspension geometry by adding that bracket, well, when you take that same corner that used to look like this, now it's gonna just be like this, just a little bit, because now your car has less leverage to move this control arm up and compress your spring. So yeah, when your control arm looks like this, that actually gives the car way more leverage to kind of feel like you have body roll. And when you correct it like this, it's harder for that spring to compress because obviously it has to fight the control arm and move it up before it feels like it's rolling. Does that make sense? All right, so if next time you follow someone and they're super slammed, just look at the back of their control arm and you'll see that it's usually like this. And if you don't correct it and you just drive it like that because you're hot boy material, guess what? You're gonna have more body roll versus a guy with straighter control arms. And that's what this bracket does from Hone Developments. So hopefully that helps.